So we're moving into fall, and you know, all the butternuts, the acorn squash, apples are in season right now, pumpkins. So start thinking about roasting them for the holidays. You know, you can make your own pumpkin seeds and everything with the seeds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rum raisin butter and also a roasted butternut squash and sour cream spread for our pumpkin bread that Stan made. So our pumpkin bread, first of all, we used our, you can use several of our oils, but we used our blood orange olive oil. You can also use our butter infused oil, or of course any of our pure oils, and any of our nut oils would work as well also. So I got a butternut, you know, or cut it in half. And last year we showed you how to roast butternuts. Now what I did is I took my knife and I scored the butternut and put it in the oven upside down on the cookie sheet with just a little bit of water. You're going to roast it for about, or cook it for about 35-40 minutes. Now when it's a little bit softer, then flip it over. And by then, of course, any water that you might have had on your cookie sheet is going to be evaporated, which is fine because now you're gonna want to roast it. Emulsified together our blood orange olive oil, our cinnamon pear, dark balsamic, and a little bit of our maple balsamic. Brushed it on, let it sit for just a little bit, and then I sprinkled some of our apple pie spice blend on it, and I put it back in the oven and I roasted it. So you want it to be dry. You don't want it to have any water or anything in there. You don't want to steam it any longer. You want to actually roast it until it's really, really tender. You can see when I put a fork in it how soft it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bowl part and I'm going to set this aside. You could actually, like we did last year, you could actually stuff this with some rice or a little bit of a stuffing of your choice. And I'm going to take this other end piece, I'm going to take my fork and I'm just going to run it right along the edges so that I can take some of the squash out. It's almost like a sweet potato. And I'm going to put that right in my bowl. And I would say maybe about a half a cup or so would work. Just depends on how much you want to make and how much flavor of the squash you actually want in with your cream cheese for your dip. Now we're using this for our banana bread, but of course you can use it for a lot of things. You can put it with crackers, you can put it with some fresh vegetables if you'd like. We're just going to make a spread for our banana nut bread. So this is some softened cream cheese, and we're going to use our fork to get this started. And you're just going to blend it together. To this, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of our pumpkin pie or our apple pie spice blend. And then put this in the refrigerator so that it'll firm up again. And then before you serve it, take it out of the refrigerator and you can put it in a nice dish. Now the other one that we're going to make is actually a rum raisin butter. And this is our fellow employee here, Sue, her idea. And what we did is we took some raisins, just some plain old sun-dried raisins. You can use the golden raisins if you'd like. And we put them in a bowl, poured a little bit of Bacardi Gold rum, some spiced rum would work really well too, and covered the raisins. And then I added our cinnamon pear balsamic. Also the fig works really well for this. Put them in there, covered them up, and let them sit overnight so that the raisins plump up, but also the rum soaks into the raisins. Now what I did was I made this a couple of times, and I think I prefer to chop up the raisins a little bit before I put them in the butter. But you can see how nice and plump they got. So I'm going to take those and I'm going to just run a knife through them. So you want them a pretty fine chop, I would say. Okay. And then we're going to take our butter, and you can see how it's softened quite a bit. And I'm going to cut this in little chunks, you know, just so that it blends a little bit easier. just put it in your bowl. I've already got some of the rum raisin butter started in there. Okay. And depending on, you know, how I usually do a whole stick of butter, put the raisins in there, and then of course I'm going to take some of that juice, some of the rum and the cinnamon pear balsamic, and I'm going to just kind of drizzle that in there. And you can see how the butter, it gets kind of slippery, but once you get it started, it'll all start to blend in together. But what I'm going to do with this particular one is I'm going to make a log with it. So you just need some saran wrap. It's almost like making a sushi roll. Okay. I'm going to take that butter and we're just going to put it on the saran wrap. And this can get a little tricky, but just work with it. And remember, you're making a log. So I fold the saran wrap and you're going to roll it. And then just take it apart and kind of push down on it and roll it at the same time. And just determine how thin you want it and how long you want it, and go from there. And then we're going to put this in the refrigerator. If you're making it and you need it quickly, put it in the freezer. Okay. Just wrap it up. And we're going to go ahead and put that in the freezer. So we have this beautiful loaf of olive pumpkin bread that Stan made from the store, and we're going to post that recipe on our website so you can go to there. Okay, so let's cut into this and see how beautiful it is. I love this time of the year. There's nothing like all the fresh squashes that are in season. Okay. And we'll plate this up and we'll serve it with our butter in our pumpkin dip. Up the olive pumpkin bread, got the butter and the butternut squash dip, and this is how the log comes out when you pull it out of the refrigerator, out of the freezer. So you can see how it's firmed up. This way it'll make it really easy to slice. Get some really nice dishes. If you're serving it, you know, with some coffee after dinner, just a serrated knife works best, but just cut into it. And you can see it's a little bit softer. The raisins are nice in there. There you go. And also what we did you can look in any of the dollar stores, but these are kind of fun too. You can fill them with the butter, put them in the freezer, let them get really, really hard, because when you pop them out, you want them to stay in their little shape. So that makes nice for the holidays as well. So happy fall. Enjoy.